You ever find yourself watching someone on TV and you just know they're lying? It's not what they're saying, it's something else. It's this powerful feeling, right? That we can somehow see past the words and decode what a person's really thinking just by how they move. But is that feeling based in reality, or is it something else entirely?
Well, a lot of people seem to think it's real. That number you're looking at, 38 million. That is the number of views on a single YouTube video that claims to analyze the body language of Chris Watts, a man who murdered his family. And that's not some weird one-off video, it's just the tip of a massive iceberg. Welcome to the body language boom. It's this huge corner of the internet where you've got these self-taught experts breaking down everything from a celebrity apology to a police interrogation, and they're all promising to show you the hidden truth that everyone else is missing.
And the subjects are always the people everyone's talking about. You know, controversial figures, like Meghan Markle or Amber Heard. They basically become public case studies. After the Astroworld tragedy, Travis Scott's apology was picked apart, frame by frame. It seems like anytime there's a big public drama, the nonverbal analysis drops almost immediately.
And you can see why it's so appealing, right? The whole promise is incredibly simple. It boils down to this really seductive formula. If they make gesture A, it means they're thinking hidden thought B. You know, if a person touches their nose, they're lying. If they blink a certain way, they're being submissive. It's sold us this secret code, and these online analysts claim they have the dictionary.
But what happens when we take this whole booming online industry and hold it up to actual scientific scrutiny? Because this is where the story takes a really, really sharp turn.
So on one side, you get these incredibly confident, definitive statements like this one. A popular YouTuber is watching Amber Heard in court and just flat out says her behavior is a very good sign of being an abuser. It's a bald claim, no ambiguity, and it's being broadcast to hundreds of thousands of people. And then, on the other side, you have, well, the actual scientific community. Researchers like Vincent Denault are crystal clear about this. The second you start linking one specific movement to one specific meaning, treating it like that secret codebook, you are not doing science anymore. What you're doing should be called pseudoscience.
You know, in the academic world, they actually have a name for this kind of thing: zombie ideas. These are ideas that have been disproven by evidence again and again, but they just refuse to die. They keep shambling on because they feel true, not because they are true. And this idea of a simple, decodable body language, it's a textbook zombie idea.
So let's break down the biggest myth of them all. That very term, body language, is just fundamentally misleading. Why? Because our nonverbal cues, our gestures, our expressions, they don't actually work like a language at all. Think about it. What makes a language a language? English, for example, has a fixed vocabulary. The word dog means dog. It also has syntax, rules, which is why we know that the man killed the bear is totally different from the bear killed the man. Our so-called body language has none of that. There's no fixed dictionary of gestures, and there are no rules of grammar.
I mean, take this classic example. Is this person being defensive and closed off? Or are they just cold? Could be either, right? Without knowing the situation, the gesture is totally meaningless. But that simple A means B interpretation is the entire foundation of this online trend, and it completely ignores the one thing that matters most: context.
And this brings us to the most popular and, honestly, the most dangerous use of body language analysis. This whole idea that we can use it to spot lies. Everybody's searching for that Pinocchio effect, you know? That one single tell that gives a liar away.
So let's just ask the question. If you ignore what the online gurus say and you look at decades of actual scientific research, how good are we, as humans, at spotting a lie just from someone's nonverbal behavior alone?
54%. That's it. A massive analysis of over 200 different studies came up with that number. Our ability to detect a lie based on someone's behavior is barely better than flipping a coin. So for all the confidence you see online, the science says our accuracy is basically random chance. And look, this is not just some fun theoretical problem. The US government spent around $1.5 billion on a program for the TSA called SPOT. It trained officers to spot potential terrorists based on 92 different behavioral indicators. We're talking about things like exaggerated yawning or a bobbing Adam's apple. And the result? A government report found there was no scientific evidence to support it. It was a billion-dollar failure built entirely on a zombie idea.
Okay, so if our bodies aren't just leaking our hidden truths all over the place, what are they doing? Let's look at a much more scientific and, frankly, a much more interesting picture of what's really going on with our nonverbal communication.
For a long, long time, the old theory was that your face is just a readout of what you're feeling inside. You feel happy, so you smile. Simple. But a more modern, evidence-based idea called the behavioral ecology view sees it completely differently. A smile isn't just a sign of happiness. It's a social tool you use to signal that you want to get along. And a scowl isn't just a sign of anger. It's a tool you use to try and influence someone to back down.
So what this really means is that our faces aren't passive windows into our soul. They are active tools. Tools that we use whether we know it or not to manage our social world. They're for navigating relationships, not for broadcasting our secret diary entries.
Now, it's pretty easy to hear all this and think, okay, so what? What's the real harm in a few YouTube videos? But when these myths escape the internet and start walking around in the real world, the consequences can be huge. This is not harmless entertainment.
You can see how this happens. It starts with a viral video that spreads misinformation. But the people watching those videos, they don't just stay viewers forever. Eventually, they become jurors. They become hiring managers. They become police officers. And they carry these false beliefs with them into situations where people's freedom and their livelihoods are on the line.
As one research paper puts it, these claims can reach people in real positions of power and may endanger the freedom and even the lives of people. Think about it. A juror who believes that fidgeting is a sure sign of guilt might wrongly convict someone who's just anxious. A hiring manager who thinks avoiding eye contact means you're dishonest could deny a perfectly qualified candidate a job. The stakes here are incredibly high.
Which really leaves us with one final, and I think, crucial question. Our world is complicated. Truly understanding another person is one of the hardest things we ever have to do. So why are we so incredibly drawn to the promise of an easy answer? Why do we want a secret code that lets us just bypass all that messy, difficult work? It's definitely a question worth thinking about.